Hi there, welcome to the fourth card in May's card class. We're switching it up now and moving over to the On the Horizon suite, which features this lovely stamp set, and we're using some of the landscape style papers that are part of the suite as well. This is a very different style of card from me, and one that I'm not familiar with making, but I have loved putting these cards together for you all. So the first card we're going to make looks like this, and I've gone with a nice amount of white space here on the bottom, and then we've got our scene at the top that we've layered together with some of the designer series papers, some of the dies, and a bit of stamping as well. I'm going to show you a few stamping techniques that I've found really work throughout these cards, and I hope you like them. So starting off with this card, we have all of the pieces in our card kit, and you're going to need to cut yourself two pieces of designer series paper. Okay, and I'm going to show you what pieces I have used. So I have used this piece here for the sky, and it's been cut from this one here. The background of it is mainly blue, so depending how moody you'd like your sky depends on where you cut your piece from, but I'm going to ink that slightly so that it becomes a bit darker. And then for the green, for our grass, we have this piece here that's been cut from this landscape piece, and then it's all green on the background. Okay, so the piece that you need, these pieces measure. Our blue piece is 5 centimetres by 10 centimetres, and our green piece is 4 centimetres by 10 centimetres. Okay. And this is the piece we're going to work on to start with. So we're going to start by just tearing that top edge ever so slightly, because we don't want to lose too much of our grass. Okay, and we're going to do a little bit of inking on that edge. Okay, so for the inking, I'm going to use Old Olive. Just moving these pieces out the way. And what this does is it just inks that edge nicely and adds a different sort of layer to your card or to your DSP. And it's up to you how much you ink that, really. I'm happy with that. It just takes the edge off of that grass, of the white DSP. And then we're going to move over and we're going to ink up this blue piece. And I'm going to use Starry Sky, one of our brand new ink colours. And you want to load up your blending brush, but you don't want it to be too dark. Okay, so this makes my sky look a bit moody. So I'm happy with that. Let's just change that DSP ever so slightly, and we now have a moody looking sky, which is what I was going for. Okay. Next thing we need to do is we need to stamp our birds, and I'm going to stamp in Night of Navy across that blue there. Okay. Like so. So just a few little birds across the top of our sky, and now we're ready to start assembling. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to stick our piece of basic white onto our card base. Our card base is Night of Navy card. Big fan of Night of Navy. Like so. And then our sky is going to be the first piece that we stick down. And that's going to go flush with the top of our card. Okay, so bring that back in, And the next thing you want to do is you want to put your grass on. Now this is where a bit of personal choice comes in. It depends how much white space you want. It depends how much of the blue sky you want. It's entirely your choice how you make this card. Now what I like about the piece of DSP I've chosen here, because I've had the ink around the edge, it looks quite moody, whereas this bit looks quite nice. So I'm actually not going to cover too much of that up, and I'm going to stick this down, but just at the bottom of our piece of DSP. Okay. And then just bring it down until you're happy with it. What we're going to do next is we're going to do a little bit of stamping. I want to stamp this sort of reed look, this sort of grass look. So I'm going to stamp in Old Olive. And I'm just going to stamp that sort of just underneath the horizon. So we get a little bit of that grass showing on the blue. The next thing we have is we have these beach huts that we're going to slide in there. Now, I'll tell you a little story. I showed this, my mum was here with me when I made this card, and she said, oh, that was really nice, really like that. Yeah, lovely, lovely. And then I took it along to show my card class ladies, and they said to me, why have you put gravestones on a card? And my mum went, well, I did think they looked like gravestones, but I didn't want to tell you. So we have some beach huts here. Now, it's entirely up to you if you put them on, because I do agree, now I've been told, they do look slightly gravestone-like. You could also cut them out of a different card if you want to, or you can just leave them off altogether. So I'm going to leave them off for the moment and build the rest of the card, and then we'll decide if we want to put them on. But it did make me chuckle. And I don't think I'm ever going to live it down, but thanks, Mum. So, our gate. My little trick with this gate is to stamp on it, so you get a little bit more detail on it. It looks quite flat otherwise. And I'm going to use this stamp here to stamp on our gate. And I'm going to stamp in soft suede ink, this one here. So I'm going to stamp it so that the grain runs vertical. Like so. And I think it just adds a little bit of detail that just works. What do you think? Okay, so we're going to put our gate on, and that's going to be stuck down. I'm just going to stick it down on the bottom fence post. And it's going to stick down so that the top horizontal piece just sits along the horizon. So we've got that lovely grass showing behind it. Okay, and then you have two pieces of grass that I have die cut for you. You've got a piece that's lighter, and that's cut from Old Olive, and then you have a darker piece that's cut from Mossy Meadow. Okay. So I'm going to stick down my Mossy Meadow piece first. Just like that. And then this next piece, it looks lovely, but again I want to add a bit of detail to it. So I'm going to take an Old Olive ink pad, and I'm going to take my grass image, and I'm going to stamp on it just to give it a bit of grass-like texture, like so. Nice simple technique, but it just changes it slightly. And then I'm going to add that piece over the top, but just slightly off, so we've got a bit of a shadow behind it created by that Mossy Meadow. So that's what we have now. Now let's put this back in. I don't think they look too bad. I think they do look like beach huts, so I am going to leave them in. Before I stick them in, I'm just going to cut off the edge and then stick them down. that's the reason I didn't stick that top edge of my grass down, because I wanted those to just slide in underneath. Okay. The last piece we have to do on this card, we've just got to heat emboss our sentiment, and the sentiment that I've used says wishing you so much happiness, and we're going to stamp that onto this piece of crumb cake card that's in your little kit pack. So let me find my sentiment. I think it's in here. Yes. And I'm putting the sentiment in the top right corner. So normally we would put our sentiment sort of slap bang in the middle, but I've tried something different on this card and I really like the way it looks. And then our sentiment is going to go onto some pads. Actually, I'm going to use a piece of foam strip. Quite into this foam strip at the moment. And then this sentiment is going to sit just so that the grass disappears behind it. Okay. And then the last piece to add are some faux, oh no, these aren't faux sea glass shapes, these are the pebbles. Now when I saw these pebbles I thought, what on earth do we need pebbles for? But then I started using them and now I understand fully why we need pebbles. They're great, they're a great little addition to this set. And I'm just going to add a couple to my card. There we have it. Let me know what you think of the front. And then for the inside we've just got a little bit of detail which I'm going to create here for you. So you're going to need a piece of green card, green DSP. Just double checking how I did this, and we're going to quite literally just tear it around. Okay, now I've torn mine in that direction, so it's going to go on this corner rather than the outside one. But before we do that, we're going to add just a little bit of sky with the ink on our blending brush. Okay. And then with the green, we're just going to get rid of that nice white line. Like so. Okay. Stick that piece in the corner. And then we're going to add a bit of stamping. So with our Old Olive ink pad, we're going to stamp some grass, just like that. You can't see it massively. And then we're going to stamp some birds. Now I've left the ink on there. And that's it. That is our first card created with the On the Horizon stamp set. Do let me know what you think. I really like the simplicity of the design actually, but there's quite a lot going on when you look closely. So that's it for card number 4. Join me over on the next video for the 5th card. Bye for now.